Is Islam a religion of peace? Find out for yourself, but please listen with an open and unbiased mind. Talal Al Rawandi. My name is Talal Al Rawandi. I am an ex-Muslim who has decided to come out and share with you years of experience in searching for the truth about Allah, Muhammad, and the Quran. The three elements that have proven to be effective tools to enslave and abuse the human mind. In my next series of lectures, I will be addressing the following subjects. Is Islam a religion of peace? What are the characteristics of Allah and the true character of Muhammad? Did the Quran come from a divine source? Is the Sharia law suitable for humanity? How Islam degrades and humiliates women? Is there a God, and would it be Allah? I was taken by Islam at the age of 7 to spend many years in worshipping Allah and memorizing the Quran. They told us that there is God in heaven residing on a throne above water, that He is the creator of the universe and human being, that He is Allah, who is a just God, but that His punishment is severe for those who deny Him or associate with Him a partner. Despite my strong belief in Allah, I always wondered where He came from and why He has a crowd of angels to glorify Him when, as He claimed, He needs no help or assistance from anyone. I began to look with a free and critical mind at what I accepted to be the truth. After years of researching the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad, I have found nothing but myths, fabricated and delusional stories, most of which were taken from earlier religions. In my lectures, I will tell you about facts that have been completely hidden from Muslims. The turning point. I was fortunate to be able to jump out of the Islamic doctrine cage and free my mind from all its fictitious beliefs and lies. I came to England to finish my studies, and after that I traveled to the USA and to many European and Asian countries. At the end, I have worked as a consultant in the capacity of project controls manager for the energy sector, starting in England, then moving to Syria, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and finally the United Arab Emirates, where I spent many years. I found Islamic countries teeming with tyrants and corrupt people, thirsting for power and the luxuries of life. In Muslim countries, especially Arab countries, their human rights are there in name only. Muslim countries have become the scene of a human tragedy, not to mention the killing and destruction of their religious conflicts, which have lasted for more than 1400 years. I will put in your hands clear evidence that Islam has many illogical contradictions, scientific fallacies, and immoral teachings. For some reason, the God of Islam, Allah, decided to remain unseen and not communicate with the human beings except in secret and only with the few selected men claimed to be his prophets or messengers. So here, let us address Allah directly and see if He can answer questions that have baffled the greatest minds. Why have you not provided irrefutable evidence of your existence? What benefit comes from the creation of the universe and from the creation of people? Why did you not confirm the correct religion instead of resorting to sending 3 books, cancelling the first and the second, and saving the third? If you do not need to be worshipped, then why do you command it and punish everyone who does not worship you? What is the point of ignoring most of the world in favor of an illiterate man called Muhammad in a small desert area? How can you claim that you have given us freedom of belief while threatening eternal punishment for those who do not believe in you? What is the wisdom in your statement, "Do not ask me of what I do, and just do what you were told"? Why did you send your book in a language that is only known to about 4% of the world's population, making it vague and easily open to misinterpretation? What is the point of challenging 96% of humanity to come up with a similar Quran as yours, the book that they do not understand the language of? What is the wisdom in exposing people to starvation, poverty, and deadly disease? Why, as you claimed, must you torment people who do not believe in you? Yet it is you who ascribe to them an element of immorality, and upon whom you have assigned a demon to lead them to hell. Why do you constantly threaten eternal punishment for those who deny you, when you have conveyed to us that the world in your eyes is not worth a mosquito wing? Let us recall a couple of your threat verses from the Quran. First, those who reject our communications, we will scorch them in a fire. Every time their skins are cooked, we will replace them with other skins, so that they taste the suffering. Second, as for those who disbelieve, garments of fire will be tailored for them, and boiling water will be poured over their heads, melting their insides and their skins. Religious doctrine is meant to confiscate human minds. It is based on exhortation and intimidation. All the myths of imagination and the fabrication of ignorant, greedy, psychotic, evil, and tyrannical people. I will talk about Islam, the religion that I practiced for many years. My hope is that my lectures will be a stepping stone to illuminate the way forward, to free millions from the clutches of those who claim to have a mandate from heaven to guide people. Let us examine the credibility of what the clergy tell us. Let us look through the microscope of the free mind, through the lenses of logic and science, to see if there are facts behind those who claim that their teachings come from heaven, the unseen supernatural world that deceptively proved to be one of the most effective tools of mind control. Is Islam a religion of peace? The title of today's lecture. Islamists claim in a deceptively patchwork manner that their religion came with moral teachings that guide Muslims to be advocates of peace. To support their claim, they often refer to this Quranic verse: "Whoever kills a person, unless it is for murder or corruption on earth, it is as though he killed the whole of humankind. And whoever saves it, it is as though he saved the whole of humankind." Chapter 5, verse 32. This verse appears as a model principle for preserving human life. But if we look at the verse in its full context and at the other teachings of Islam, we will see things in a different light. Here is the whole verse instead of the abbreviated version usually used by Islamists. Because of this, we ordained for the children of Israel that whoever kills a person, unless it's for murder or corruption on earth, it is as though he killed the whole of humankind. And whoever saves it, it is as though he saved the whole of humankind. Let us see what the actual meaning of this verse is if taken in its full context. First, the verse is addressed to the children of Israel, the Jews, and the God of Islam was not addressing the people of Muhammad, and he was not speaking to the Arabs or humanity in general. Second, what matters here are the two conditions stipulated in the verse, according to which Allah permits the killing of any person. The two conditions are willful killing and corruption on earth, and one of the most important rules that Allah has set for non-corruption on earth is belief in Him and His Messenger, and accordingly, infidelity is considered a major form of corruption. Thus, apostates who reject Islam and Muslim women who demand equality with men are considered corrupt on earth and must be killed as per Allah's command. This is another verse telling us about the punishment that awaits those who are corrupt in the land, because they did not surrender to Allah and obey Muhammad. The punishment for those who fight Allah and His Messenger and strive to work corruption on earth is that they be killed or crucified or have their hands and feet cut off on opposite sides or be banished from the land. Chapter 5, verse 33. A clear statement that they must be killed or crucified, or if they're lucky to get away, with their limbs being cut off, not to mention confiscating all their possessions and their servitude. To prove that Islam is not a peaceful religion, we can look at other Quranic verses, those calling for the killing of non-Muslims. Here are some examples. First, fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, and who do not consider unlawful what Allah and His Messenger have made unlawful. Chapter 9, verse 29. Second, O Prophet, wage jihad against the faithless and the hypocrites, and be severe with them. Their refuge shall be hell. Chapter 9, verse 73. Third, O believers, fight the unbelievers around you, and let them realize that you are firm. Chapter 9, verse 123. Fourth, and slay them whenever you come upon them, and expel them from where they expelled you. Chapter 2, verse 191. Fifth, those who are infidels will surely receive severe punishment, both in this world and in the next. Chapter 3, verse 56. In Islam, the final ruling is clear. Everyone must submit to Allah and His law. Following hadith would fully support this statement. First, in this hadith, Muhammad said, I am instructed to fight the people until they testify that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Reference, the authenticated book of Al-Bukhari, hadith number 25. Second, in this hadith, Muhammad clearly calls for the execution of anyone who renounces Islam and adopts another religion. Whoever changes his religion, kill him. Reference, the authenticated book of Al-Bukhari, hadith number 6922. And here a couple of examples to show how Islam is prejudiced towards others. Sometimes describe the non-believers that they are unclean, as per this verse. O ye who believe, the idolaters only are unclean, so let them not come near your place of worship. Chapter 9, verse 28. And sometimes cursing them and making them monkeys and pigs, as stated in this verse. Say, shall I inform you of what is worse than that as a penalty from Allah? It is those who Allah has cursed and with whom He became angry and made of them apes and pigs. Chapter 5, verse 60. Islamists have often, in acrobatically deceiving way, justified any Quranic verse that relates to combat as a directive for self-defense, regardless of how clear the verse's goals are to induce fighting non-Muslims, those who do not submit to Allah's commands. How could anyone misinterpret the aforementioned verses to be self-defense instructions, particularly verse 29 in chapter 9 that clearly instructs Muslims to fight all those who do not believe in Allah and submit to Islam? One can also see Muhammad has set his command on ethnic cleansing campaigns for those around him from among the non-Muslim minorities. This is what he said in his hadith. I will expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula and will not leave any but Muslim. Reference, the authenticated book of Muslim, hadith number 1767. Let me give you more examples of how Allah instructs Muslims to deal with the non-believers. In this verse, Allah encourages the looting and confiscation of non-Muslim property as war spoils. The verse says, "So consume what you have taken for war booty, as being lawful and good." Chapter 9, verse 69. How about this verse that shows Allah to be well distant from mercy towards the human being? Here he is reprimanding Muhammad for keeping his prisoners of war alive before he establishes complete control over the land. The verse says, "It is not for a prophet to have captives of war until he inflicts a massacre upon Allah's enemies in the land." Chapter 9, verse 67. And this verse establishes an explicit decree granting Muslim men special privileges to rape non-believers and use them for sexual pleasure if they fall as prisoners of war. The God of Islam says, "And all married women except those you rightfully possess." This is Allah's decree binding upon you. Chapter 4, verse 24. Can any sane person imagine that these instructions came from a divine source? What is this privilege but a blasphemous violation of the dignity of women and a clear violation of the minimum human rights? One can conclude without a doubt that all the so-called peaceful Quranic texts depict Islam as an oppressive religion when understood in its proper context. A doctrine that was fabricated by Muhammad to eliminate everything in his path that is not identical to his ideology. Muhammad was never among those who showed respect for other beliefs, not to mention that he never tolerated anyone who did not accept his ideas and did not submit to his claim that his law is from heaven and that it is an absolute truth. Is it possible to reform Islam to become a religion of peace? Reforming Islam can only be done by Allah, either by sending a new Quran or by bringing back Muhammad to amend the existing Quran and many of his hadith that he claimed to be divine revelations. There is no other option to reform Islam for two reasons. First, replacing one letter of the Quran without referring to its author would be considered a crime that would warrant death. Second, it is claimed that Allah personally affirms that He has pledged to preserve His book and protect it from any modification or distortion. This is a sign to all Muslims not to alter a single letter of the Quran. However, if God of Islam realizes that his Quran does need an update, he certainly should give priority to the following: abolishing slavery, wife beating, child marriage, and child abuse. Abolish the privilege given to Muslim men to rape the non-believers' female captives. Preventing polygamy and having slave girls. Refrain from insulting non-believers and calling them monkeys and pigs. Stop the threat of permanent torment in hellfire for non-believers. Stop Muslims from killing and abusing non-believers. Abolish all legislation calling for the demeaning of women and giving them rights that are comparable to men. Giving people complete freedom to follow any belief and permitting absolute freedom of expression. Giving clear and undeniable evidence of his existence. Telling us where he came from and what is the nature of his being. Telling us on what basis he favored Muhammad, who served him 23 years, over Noah, who served him 950 years with dedication and loyalty. This is the end of today's lecture. You can find more details about this lecture in either of my books, The Islam Delusion or The Danger of the Islamic Doctrine, both available at my website, of which the link is shown below. My best wishes to you all. Goodbye for now.